Hi everyone, this is a short video tutorial on how to use the AutoMatChanger. You've probably seen a lot of videos where a person is walking around an ArcViz project and is able to change the materials on selected items. Usually the creation of this functionality requires creating individual blueprints for each individual item. This is where AutoMatChanger comes in. It automates the entire process for you. You don't need to create any blueprints whatsoever. The system will automatically turn your static meshes into interactive items, and it will automatically create thumbnails for your materials. All you have to do is specify which items need to be interactive and what material options they should have. Everything else is automated by the included blueprints. The system also gives you the option to show an outline on interactive items. This is a great way to tell your users that the item they're currently looking at is interactive. However, for the outline to work, you will need to have these two materials which are not included with your download. That's because I didn't create these materials. They were created by Tom Lumand, and you can get these materials on his website. He's asking you to name a fair price. I also ask you to pay him a fair price. That's because it's always a good idea to support such individuals who are so helpful to the community. Having said that, the system will work fine without these materials anyway. You just won't have the outline on your interactive items. The only asset you need to work with here is the MC material changer. That's the main blueprint that makes everything work. First, we need to make sure this blueprint is implemented in our character's blueprint. So I'm going to go click on the first person BP folder and open up my first person character. It will work with any character you might have. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I click on capsule component first, click on the green button that says add component, and search for child. I'm going to choose child actor, and I'm going to name this MC so we know exactly what this is. I'm going to call this actually I might need to compile first. I'm going to name this MC, and then I need to make sure that this MC is exactly where the first person camera is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my camera. I'm going to right click on location and choose copy. I'm going to go to MC, right click on locations, and paste. Now MC needs to be a child of the first person camera, so I'm going to click and drag that on the first person camera. Then on the right hand side where it says child actor class none, I'm going to click on that and search for material, and it will give me MC material changer. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. As soon as I click on that, you will see this red arrow popping up. I'm going to hit compile, and that's for the character blueprint. I no longer need that blueprint, so I'm going to go ahead and close that. So now let's presume this wall over here is the wall that I want to work with, and I want to change. I need to give this a tag name. So I'm going to select that object. Inside the search details, I'm going to search for tag. You will have component tags and tags under actor. You want to make sure you go to the actor tags and click on the plus sign next to that. And you want to give this a name. I'm going to call this wall. Now it's very important that you know exactly how you've typed this, because you're going to need that in a second. So I'm going to actually go ahead and copy that. Then I'm going to go back to my folder, and where it says MC material changer, I'm going to go ahead and open that. Then what I'm going to do is on the left hand side it says duplicate me. I'm going to right click on that and do exactly as it says. I'm going to choose duplicate, and when it's asking me to give it a name, I'm going to put exactly the same word that I use for my tag. Now over here is asking me to choose material ID 0 and material ID 1. In this case, this wall only has one material ID, so I'm going to select material ID 1 and just go with material ID 0. I'm going to click on the plus sign. It's always a good idea to make sure that your existing material is the first option on your list. It doesn't have to be, it's just good practice. So I'm going to go ahead and search for that material wherever that is, and then I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. I'm going to go ahead and click on the plus sign twice because I want to have a total of 3 options for that wall. And I'm going to go in here and search for brick, for example. I have the starter content, so some of these materials might be familiar to you. And I'm going to go with clay beveled, and for the third one, again, I'm going to search for brick, and I'm going to go with clay new. If I hit compile, I can go back to my game, press play. If I go ahead and look at my item now, you will see that, I mean, at this stage, you will see that the material, the outline is active. Let me just go ahead and turn that off for you. So we'll come back to the outline in a second, and I'll tell you how you can get that done as well. Let me just go ahead and do that. There we go. So there shouldn't be any outline on it now. So now if I go ahead and look at this this wall, and if I click, you will see that these 3 options are now automatically created for me. So I could choose any of these items, and it will automatically change the material for me. Now, I also have other walls in here. So let me escape that. There we go. So now I have these walls over here, all of which that need to have the same options. Now, if I wanted to change the material on this wall separately to this wall, I need to be careful of the options that I have in my MC material changer. Inside of your MC material changer, on the left hand side, you will see that there are, under variables, there are 3 folders. One is components. You should not touch this. The other one says do not change, so you should definitely not touch that. The other one says variables to change. There are 3 variables in here. One says show outline, which in this case it doesn't matter because I deleted the material required for it to work. I'm going to come back to this in a second. Then we have affect all actors with the same tag, which is currently ticked. I'm going to untick that here, and I'll also untick the other option. We're going to come back to these. So when it says affect all actors with the same tag, if this option is ticked, all the actors in your scene that share the same tag will change at the same time. So let me show you how this works. Right now, the tag name that I've given to this one wall is called wall. Well, the options for wall are the 3 options that I have specified here. So now if I go back to this wall and I select this other wall, and I choose tag and give it the same name, if I play the game right now, I can go ahead and look at this wall, change its material without affecting the wall next to it. And then I can of course look at the other material, the other wall, and change the material on this without affecting the wall next to it. But if I wanted all of these options, all of these walls to change at the same time, I can give them all the same tag name. So right now I can see that this has wall, this has wall. I'm going to select these 2. You can give a tag name at the same time to multiple objects. So I have this wall and this wall selected. I'm going to click on the plus sign, and I'm going to name them all the same thing. So now I could go and change these individually without changing the other. But if I wanted to change one and let everything else change as well, I would have to go back to my material changer, and the option that says affect all actors with the same tag, make sure that's ticked. If I compile this and play, you will now notice that if I go over here, and I'll do this middle wall so you can see the 2 next to it as well. If I look at it and click, I can change the materials, and it will affect all the walls or all the objects in the scene that share the same tag name. Now what I can do, let's say I wanted to also change the floor. So I can then select the floor, give it a tag name. I'll probably call this one floor. And I'll go back to my material changer, right click on duplicate me and choose duplicate, and give it the exact same name, floor. So now what are my floor options? Let's also give this one, we'll give this one 4 options. So let's make sure that the first one is what we have here. Again, you don't have to do this, it's just good practice. Then I'm going to search for wood. Let's go with wall not polished, and let's go with wood again, and let's go with worn, and let's go with wood again. and this time choose pine. So now if I play again, I can look at the floor, and if I click, I get these options coming up for the floor where I can choose what I want. Again, the thumbnail is automatically generated for me, and I can also look at the wall and change the wall to something else, and now all the walls are changed together and the floor is changed. Again, I could do the exact same thing. I could go select these walls. Let's say I wanted these ones to be different, so when I'm giving a tag name, I will give it a different tag name. So we'll name this one, for example, wall 2. I will copy that. Again, I can duplicate this and make sure it has the right name, and I can give it whatever material. Let's give this one again 2 different brick options. We'll go with the 2 stones options that we have down here. So now they are all working together. They are all working at the same time. They don't sort of interfere with each other, but I can then select these walls and change them to whatever I want. And of course I can exit that, look at the floor and change the floor to something else, and basically keep doing that. Now there is another option included in here that says material IDs should correspond. In order to show you what this does, it's probably a good idea for me to show this item over here. We've all seen this. I'm going to set this to movable so that it doesn't ask me to build lighting, and it's too big, so let's make that a bit smaller. As you can see, this object has 2 material IDs, so I should be able to change both material IDs. Let's go ahead and give this guy a tag. I'm going to call this one, let's call it test for now. I'm going to go back to my material changer, duplicate the option that says duplicate me, and put the same name on there, which is test in this case. Let's go ahead and make the first material ID. I'm going to search for metal, and let's go with gold, and let's go with steel. For the second ID, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to choose wood. Again, we'll go with oak, and we'll go with pine. At this stage, material ID should correspond is turned off. What that means is, if I play my game and I look at this item and I click on it, I will get 2 rows of materials. So one is the gold and I think the other one was steel, and the other ones will correspond with the second material ID, so I can then choose those individually. But sometimes you actually don't want to give your sort of users the option to change the different material IDs separately. So for example, imagine if you had a chair that comes where the frame is either wood with red fabric, or it is metal with black fabric, but you don't have the option to mix and match. So in that case, you can go ahead and choose material ID should correspond to true. Now if I play this, you will see that I only have 1 option instead of 2. But if I change one of those material IDs, it will also change it with the corresponding material ID on the second channel, or I could basically flip between those 2. So what that really means is now whatever material I've put into channel 0 here will correspond with channel 0 here, and channel 1 with channel 1, and then channel 2 with channel 3, and so on and so forth. They will work together, so you don't have the option to mix and match. Now I would like to go back to what I talked about in regards to show outline and the materials which are not included with what I'm giving you. So you would want to go ahead and purchase this from Tom Luhmann directly. I think he sells it on his website. But again, everything that I just did right now was without these two materials, so the system works fine without them. But in case if you did get these and you wanted to use them to have an outline, then what you would have to do is you would have to get your post-process volume. If you don't already have a post-process volume, you can of course search for post-process volume, click and drag that in your scene. It's a good idea to set the infinite extent to true, so that regardless of how big your post-process volume is, if it affects everything. Then what you want to do is, towards the bottom there is this section that says post-process materials. There's an array in there. You want to click on the plus sign and it says choose. You want to choose asset reference. Then these two materials, one of them is a material, the other one is a material ID. Sorry, is the material instance. So you want to click and drag material instance into the slot there. And then you can open the material instance and you can choose what color your outline should be. So you could go with a more gentle yellowish color, or you could go with a blue color. You can go with any color that you want. I'm going to go with blue in this case. I'm going to choose save. Now inside the material changer, I'm going to make sure that show outline is ticked. Now when I play, if I look at the ceiling where there's no item for me to interact with, nothing turns blue. But as soon as I look at this wall, for example, which I can interact with, you can see that it turns blue. So I can then click on it and choose the material that goes with it. If I look at the floor, it gives me a very nice visual feedback as to what can be changed. If I look at the wall, I can do that as well. So this is a great way of changing things very quickly. Again, just to show you, over here is we have pillars. So I'm going to go ahead and choose all the pillars over here. And I'm going to search for tag. I'm going to call these, let's call these wood. Go back in here, duplicate wood, and choose what options wood is. So I might put actually, as I said, it's always a good idea to make sure that the first one is your existing material. And then I'm going to search for wood. Let's go with oak and pine again, maybe. Let's go with, oh, I think I have a redwood in there somewhere. Let's have a look. So now if I play the game, and if I look at the ceiling, those items are turning with an outline. I can click on them and I can choose what color they should be. And I'm going to go ahead and choose that. And there we go. So the system automates everything for you. It automatically applies outlines if you want them on items that you would want them to have outlines. It will support up to 2 material IDs, and you can very, very quickly turn your scene, your entire scene, into an interactive ArcViz project where your users can change the materials on the environment. Well, I hope you like this tutorial. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.